show is AD on the radio. What?
Today on the show, Ted Cruz is caught surfing adult entertainment on Twitter. His explanation proves that sometimes the jokes really do write themselves. A new church is giving Scientology a run for its money when it comes to getting mileage from celebrities, and scientists have determined the happiest state in America. What do you suppose that is?
Will moving to Hawaii make me happy?
Yeah, but that's not the happiest state.
Aloha.
Let's go!
Welcome to the future, where the glass is half full and you'll need new glasses, where you'll be jumping from conclusions.
The past is annulled, and a new future is born.
Never before in history has so much meant so little to so many. AD on the radio.
We didn't talk about it. I didn't have a chance to talk about it yesterday because yesterday I was at iHeartRadio in San Diego. And it's one of the many radio stations that I'm on. I'm on in a few different cities. San Diego is one of them. And iHeart San Diego did something amazing for the people of Houston, Texas, and the people of Florida and everybody affected by hurricanes Harvey and Irma. And gosh, I got to tell you, we did basically a benefit drive. We were like, all right, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., we're going to be taking donations. You can come with money. You can open a vein. You can give blood. The blood bank's going to be here. You can donate to the Salvation Army. You can donate to the Red Cross, and you can bring things like water and blankets and baby formula and diapers and food and baby food and non-perishable items and all this sort of stuff. And look, everybody has lives. Everybody has stuff to do. Everybody has been giving and giving and giving. And so it's not because we didn't necessarily think the people of San Diego would be forthcoming in this, but because people have lives and stuff to do. Late last night, kind of sitting there wondering, is anyone going to show up? I hope people show up. I hope that, and it was absolutely insane. We went from thinking, all right, maybe we'll just get like a really big U-Haul truck and take everything down. There was a line. There was a line of cars outside the building from 6 a.m. until 6 p.m. Every single one of those cars was packed to the roof with donations for victims of Irma and Harvey. It was unbelievably moving. I don't know where you're listening, but I call Houston home. And so many people. I was incredibly lucky. I lost like one storage space full of stuff, but other than that, everything worked out. But so many people have lost everything, every last thing they own. Their house, their cars, their belongings. Gone. And to see that this wasn't lost on people thousands of miles away, that the reality of the situation was not lost, that people, when the chips are down in America, are not a race, not a religion, not a tax bracket, not the car they drive, the home they live in, not the job they do. When the chips are down, all of us, not just the people in Texas, not just the people in Florida, where it's right in your face. And what else are you going to do other than put every fiber of your being into helping? But all of us, when the chips are down, are there for each other. Incredible, beautiful thing. And like I said, we were just thinking that maybe we would have like a big U-Haul worth of stuff to haul down to people that needed it. And we now have the champagne problem of going, we need 18-wheelers, and we need multiple 18-wheelers. We've got rooms and rooms and rooms full of stuff. The giving just didn't stop. It was absolutely insane. And from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank every single person that came by today. It was amazing. One of the best things I've ever gotten to do in radio. Lifting, carrying, hauling, meeting people, seeing the looks on their faces as they donated, seeing 6 and 8-year-old kids come through with money that they'd made off of their lemonade stands. Hearing stories like, we wanted to bring diapers here, but the local Walmart's completely sold out, and it's because of this. It's amazing. It's amazing. And it's something that I hope that you, me, all of us can hold on to. I hope that this was a lesson, a refresher course in love, a refresher course in unity. The devastation from hurricane season is absolutely catastrophic in the tens of billions of dollars. It's going to take years for things to get back to a semblance of normal in many neighborhoods. And I hope the upside of it is that you, me, everybody else, we remember this and we hold on to this feeling. We're coming out of one of the most divided periods of our nation's history. And, well, all too often these lessons are forgotten all too quickly. So please, that compassion in your heart, that compassion that was on display all day yesterday, never forget it. Hold on to that. That, my friend, is what will get you, me, all of us through. Let's start the show.
Real radio.
104.1.
Where the left and right come together for fundamental truths. AD on the radio, on Twitter at ADSXE.
So because yesterday I was otherwise occupied with the basically, I guess, occupied with the managing of a humongous outpouring of humanity around one of the stations I work for in San Diego, Rock 105.3, San Diego's rock station, and the whole iHeartMedia family in San Diego, because people were coming, lining up from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. with carloads full of stuff to donate to victims of Hurricanes Irma and Harvey. Wasn't able to get on the air yesterday and talk about something that really desperately needs to be talked about. And that, my friend, is the fact that Ted Cruz was caught looking at online porn on September 11th. It's an interesting one, to be sure. It really is. I don't know if you caught it or not. Twitter has exploded in a morass of high comedy. David Galder says, look, Ted Cruz liking porn is perhaps the first evidence that there is to support the possibility he's not an alien in an uncomfortable skin suit. Well played. Funkhauser, didn't you say you knew the girl in the piece of adult cinema?
No, I got a press release today saying that she's available for interviews.
Oh, she's available. Well, I think that is something that we would like to talk about.
Explore? You want to explore that?
Let's explore that a little bit. Texas lawmaker Ted Cruz was one of more than 400 accounts that liked a 2-minute long piece of adult cinema from the @sexualposts Twitter feed on social media. Like, I screenshotted it, and I needn't have bothered because the entirety of the internet screenshotted it too. But if you go to the things that Ted Cruz likes, there it was. There's lewd footage of actors, 2 women and a man, appearing on Ted Cruz's feed for no particular reason on September 11th. And here's the thing. If we've got to be fair, and we have to be fair because the rest of the world isn't, and we kind of like to be the bastion of fairness and reasonableness in the marketplace of ideas and in the world of media. If we're going to be fair, we don't know if it was Ted Cruz or if one of his staff was using his account and did the deed. So make of that what you will. But it's an interesting one, to be sure. And you know what? This is where that whole libertarianism thing comes in. This is where, I guess, large segments of my friends that identify as libertarians would say, hey, what the hell's wrong with what he was doing? He's a red-blooded American male doing something completely legal. He's of age. He wasn't doing anything untoward. There is adult cinema on the internet, and he was looking at some because he's a red-blooded American male, and that's his God-given right, all of which is true. But he, in this situation, and I don't think this is a career ender for him, but it's not a good look. Yet, if he'd been Donald Trump managed to, well, the Billy Bush tapes, I think, are a much tougher thing to come back from. And he wound up beating Ted Cruz out. Ted Cruz is a tremendous, in case you're not familiar with his politics, holy roller. And because Donald Trump didn't run on a platform of vote for me or you're blowing it with God, because he wasn't so intrinsically tied to dictatorial religious types, he was able to recover from that. Ted Cruz is, without a shadow of a doubt, a holy roller and a guy who lets his politics be influenced by holy rolling. His father's a pastor. His father is one of those types of people that says if you vote for this person and not that person, you are in fact blowing it with God. It's the one thing that really, really, look, this is not a dissection of Ted Cruz, but if there's one thing that I really have a problem with, it's the level at which his religion intermingles with his politics. Separation of church and state. It's a very old and a very good idea, and we as Americans are absolutely failing in terms of calling it out and going, hey, oh, no, get your church the hell out of my religion. Get your religion the hell out of my, get your church the hell out of my politics. Get your politics the hell out of my church. We decided long ago that the separation of church and state was a good idea, and we're doing a terrible job at upholding that idea. And it really is an interesting statement on the state of affairs with regard to the stranglehold that religion, and I'm not going to single any one religion out, has on the world of politics. And it's just not okay. Because ultimately, what did Ted Cruz do that was wrong? I mean, look, it was stupid. First and foremost, you're a public figure and a politician. And whether it was one of his staffers or whether it was him, it was a dumb move. It was a bad idea. It was a terrible idea. It was a giant mistake. The other thing that really amazed me is the amount of time it sat there on his Twitter feed for. Like, I was like, I'm going to screenshot it. I saw people talking about it. I'm like, I'm going to screenshot it. There's no way it's still up there. Oh, it's still up there. And then I watched and watched and watched for a significant amount of time before somebody got wise and took it down. I don't know if somebody gets a notification every time somebody tweets Ted Cruz, but phones must have been blowing the hell up. And it was up there for so long. But it's, like I said, an interesting one. An interesting one that I hope is a lesson learned by Ted Cruz and those of his ilk that, oh man, I wouldn't have these problems if I didn't get on this ridiculously unrealistic, morally high platform. And now I'm effed. What the hell, man? What the hell?
For more stimulation and less irritation, 9 out of 10 doctors choose KPRC AM 950, Houston's more stimulating talk radio.
Don't get the blues, get all the news. We mean all of you guys out there in Radioland. All aboard!
He's back. AD on the radio.
Give it up, yeah. Give it up, yeah. Bring this on, come on.
So wait, Ted Cruz, I think, is blaming his porn tweet on his staff. Sometimes the jokes just write themselves, don't they, Funkhauser? Incredibly poor choice of words, if that is in fact true. And for the sake of an impishly juvenile giggle, I'm just gonna go to bed tonight thinking that is true. Sorry, it was my staff's fault. Well, we all know that. Like I said, I don't have a problem with Ted Cruz watching porn. Ted Cruz's followers, him being a tremendous holy roller have a problem with it because it goes against all the things that he talks about, I think. You know who really wants us to know that Ted Cruz enjoys spending a little quality time with himself, if you know what I mean, and I think you do, is his college roommate. Have you caught this? Yeah, sticky situation. Senator Ted Cruz's roommate at Princeton is a guy called Craig Mazin. He's a screenwriter. And back in 2016, he tweeted about the fact that when Ted Cruz was my roommate, he engaged in a fair amount of self-love. He said that Ted Cruz thinks people don't have the right to stimulate their nether regions. I'm not going to verbatim say it on the air. But yeah, he tweeted that Ted Cruz thinks people don't have a right to stimulate their nether regions. I was his college roommate. This would be a new belief of his. So, and I'm sure the whole thing of Ted Cruz not wanting to indulge in a little touchy selfie. Ted Cruz not wanting to cop to treating his body like an amusement park, like George Costanza's mom said to him when she got him. I'm sure that has something to do with something biblical. So naturally, in light of Tuesday's news that Ted Cruz, Texas senator and devoted lover of the Lord, liked a porn video on his Twitter feed, the entirety of the internet turned to his old college roommate. And this guy, Craig Mazin, again confirmed that his bunk bed roommate, Ted Cruz, used to, well, get busy. He tweeted, "Now imagine Ted Cruz is doing this 4 feet below you in the bottom bunk bed. Yes, my misery very much appreciates your company." He also said, if delegates is a euphemism for Ted Cruz doing that in our room, then yeah, I could not handle his delegates. He said, sadly, the fact that Ted Cruz blankety blanks to mediocre porn is the most human thing we can say about him. This is actually a high point. And for good measure, he retweeted this timely Ted Cruz quote from July. Ted Cruz said, "We have to deliver now. I believe we can come together. We have to." All right, then. He said, I don't have a problem with him doing this. I really don't. Like, you know, this is his absolute God-given right as an American. It's legal. A lot of people would say it's a healthy thing to indulge in. However, the thing that I think upsets me the most is the stupidity. Because, like, I don't care if you do it, but understand that you're a public figure. Understand that you have lined your pockets with campaign finance donations and taxpayer money. And it would just be great if you weren't so dumb about this stuff. And I don't know if you did it. I don't know if one of your staff did it. But the bottom line is, that's a big oops for a guy that bases his career around being a holy rolling politician. And I think I'm resentful of the abuse of stupidity in a position of privilege. It's like that guy, PewDiePie. What were you telling me about PewDiePie, Funkhauser?
Oh, yeah, he was on a live stream and he dropped a racial insensitive slur.
Right, yeah. In case you did not know, is the single biggest YouTube user in the history of single big YouTube users. He started off by just playing video games online. He's a Scandinavian guy. And the guy rakes in bazillions of dollars. He's gotten into some hot water for some sort of like racially insensitive stuff in the past, but he dropped the N-bomb on the air on a live stream while he was playing a video game. He did that. Now, look. Bottom line is you're in a position of privilege. You are one of the biggest broadcasters, and people with that many YouTube followers are just that. They're broadcasters. And look, the internet, you're allowed to say what you're going to say, but it's not as crystal clear in its definition of what you can get away with and what you can't. There's words that you couldn't say on television back in the day. There's words that you couldn't say on radio. And if you steer clear of them, you're going to be fine. It was a very cut and dry situation. Now, it's a digitally driven world. the FCC are just kind of there, breathing their last breaths. One of the most unnecessary and inconvenient to taxpayers government organizations that's out there. Like the FCC is just such an irrelevant thing because, you can finish up your show on TV or on the radio where you cannot say certain words, and then you can go on Facebook Live, or you can go on a podcast, or you can live stream from your phone, and you can curse up a blue streak, and that's fine. But you're going to be tried in the court of public opinion, tried in the court of the public opinion of the internet. And these are not forgiving folks, these keyboard warriors. So I think the thing that really upsets me more than anything else when a PewDiePie or a Ted Cruz does something like this is like, you idiot, you dumbass, you're stupid. You're a broadcaster. You're a media figure. You're a personality. You've been handed a lot, and to abuse that by being as dumb as you've been, that's the part that I find offensive. Like I'm offended as a broadcaster. What the hell, man? What the hell? I mean, look, obviously PewDiePie said something that is absolutely uncool. I would love it. I would love it if people didn't drop the N-bomb ever. I never say those words. They just don't come out of my mouth. I was brought up being taught that they were unbelievably ugly. Now hip-hop vernacular slips in, and all of a sudden you've got tons of people that are not black singing along to rap songs using the N-word constantly. I know white guys that refer to other white guys as the N-word. I was called the N-word by one of my very good black friends. And I was like, oh, that was interesting. I will not call you that back. And he's like, no, you can't. And I was like, okay. So this is a word that gets used. And a lot of people use it. And I think some people use it, not appreciating the weight that it carries and the hurt that it can carry. And some people that are in no way, shape, or form racist use that word. They're trying to be cool. They're trying to be down. Maybe they're just singing along to their favorite rap song. I don't know. So it's not necessarily an immediate indictment of someone's character if that word occasionally slips out of their mouth. There's a lot of context that comes into play. But one thing that is unquestionable, do we know if PewDiePie's a racist? We think he probably is, but we don't know for sure. Do we know if he did something dumb? Yeah, unquestionably, he did something mind-numbingly stupid. And if you're like me, you're getting to a point in your life where stupidity in and of itself offends you. All right, Funkhauser, what is going on in the world?
Well, Justin Bieber and Kourtney Kardashian now attend the same church.
Oh, really? So if you want to meet him, be sure to pay a visit to Our Lady of the Perpetually Insufferable D-Bag. There's No, it's called like the Rise Church. It's like,
oh, is it a newfangled thing?
No, it's not that new of a fangled thing. It's a mega church in Australia, and some guy whose name I can't remember opened up a branch of it in New York City, and it's sort of like it's hipster rocker church. Like the main dude, and I can't remember his name, wears a lot of black leather on stage and has a hipster haircut, and they sing rock songs. And what's interesting though is like it is 100% driven by celebrity, and they've been milking the Justin Bieber connection for a long time. In fact, when Justin Bieber canceled a whole bunch of his tour dates, a lot of people pointed a finger at this church and went, "What'd you do?" Because like there was this idea that he was getting good with God instead of going on tour, and that was thought to be the influence of this church. And record labels and management went, "Oh God, this the rock and roll pastor dude costing us a lot of money." And it's one of those things where I'm suspicious of all organized religion. Religion is a beautiful and wonderful thing for so many people, and I never question another person's faith as long as you're not hurting anybody. I'm cool with that. Look, I was raised a Buddhist. I was raised a religion that a lot of people couldn't relate to and didn't understand. Both my parents were Buddhist when I was born, and so I was raised that way. I don't practice anymore, but I'm very familiar with people going, "What the hell are you doing?" with regard to my personal spiritual thing that I had going on as a kid. So having suffered through that, numerous times, I'm not interested in casting stones upon somebody else's spirituality unless they're hurting anybody. But I do have a massive, very well-founded and completely justifiable suspicion of organized religion in all of its forms. And this church is getting major mileage off of the celebrity thing in much the same way Scientology does. They've got Justin Bieber now. And so, like, the head of this church and his wife are hanging out with Justin Bieber and like, oh, we're just to hang out together and praise God together, and we're friends. It's like, you're not friends. You have nothing in common. You are a 40-year-old man, and he is a 20-year-old boy. And the conversations are probably not that meaningful. What it is you are riding a celebrity off into the stratosphere, and you're making money off of it hand over fist. And I'm sure somewhere along the way you've probably done some good. I'm sure somewhere along the way people get positive things out of it. But it's just add that to the bucket list of reasons why I find any kind of organized religion, specifically of the megachurch variety, to be completely untrustworthy. No, you and your wife, who are, like I said, beating the crap out of your 30s or in your 40s, don't have a ton in common with Justin Bieber. You just don't. So to be like, we're friends, no, that's not a thing. You're using him. And you're one in a long line of people that is only too happy to use Justin Bieber. And I'm not a Justin Bieber fan. I'm not a fan of his music. I'm not a fan of his as a person. But let's call a spade a spade. What you're doing is ugly and is contemptible. What else, Funkhauser?
It might be too late to say sorry also.
What for? Who's going to say sorry?
It's a Bieber song.
Oh, it is? See, I'm not familiar with the music of Justin Bieber having taste, but I know you've been forced to work at radio stations.
It's in there. It's at the gas station when you're pumping it. Mm-hmm.
Look, you know what's interesting about Justin Bieber? I gotta find the audio, but it was like he was singing on the Today Show or something, and I'm willing to comp to the idea that Justin Bieber is a talented individual. Like, he was discovered on YouTube by Usher, and he went, that kid's got talent, I'm going to do something, and he blew up, and it was enormous, and all of the above. But the kid is not a good singer. Like, maybe he was having an off day, but there was something where he was singing live, and he was singing live at acoustic. And as a guy that's been on stage, when you have like this massive band behind you, and there is a humongous low humming roar coming from a bass cabinet, it can be a little difficult at times to pitch yourself properly. When you're hanging upside down from lighting rigs and recovering from stage dives, it can be a little bit, well, it can leave you a little bit huffy and puffy. So you might not necessarily articulate, you might not always hit your note. Like when you're doing that sort of thing, it can be tough. And by the same token, if you're a Justin Bieber type entertainer, if you're spinning on your head and then you go and sing, well, you could be forgiven for not hitting that high note or for running out of breath. But when you're doing sort of like a stripped back acoustic thing where it's you and a guy with a guitar and you are as painfully out of tune as he was on this thing, it's just like there's no excuse for that. What was the name of the song that you
Sorry.
Well.
Is it too late now to say sorry? I'm a better singer than he is.
Well, quite possibly, yes.
Sometimes you just know you're done. You're longing for that shining sun. You walk these streets most every day. You're waiting to get washed away.
Now, more AD on the radio.
Back once again, the ill behavior, delivering and giving you my musical savior. Back once again, it's your boy AD, and can't nobody rock a body better than me. Back once again.
So, Funkhauser, conjectural moral question for you: when you go to the movies, and you got your treats, you got your snacks, you got all your yum yums. Afterwards, as you're getting ready to leave, there's going to be some refuse. There's going to be popcorn everywhere. There's going to be a container for that popcorn. Yes, there will be basura or trash. And there is going to be sort of like candy wrappers and all of the above. Do you pick that up and make things mercifully easy on the people that are left to pick up the theaters after you? Or do you just go, I'm leaving it there? That's my right as a ticket holder.
It depends on the damage I've done. I think if something tragic happened, like I spilled half of it, I'm going to leave it there. I think the bigger the mess, the less I'm interested in taking it with me. Does that make me a bad person?
No. I look. I mean, ultimately, well, here's the final word on the whole situation from Jerry Seinfeld.
I went to the movies the other day, so there's a new announcement in the movie theater mixed in with the trailers. Please pick up the garbage from around your seat after the movie. Oh, okay. Maybe I'll bring my orange jumpsuit and a wooden stick with a nail in it, too. In case I want to work my way down the highway after the credits. I'm not picking nothing up. I'm the one that threw it down. Why would I throw it down and then pick it up? There is an agreed upon deal between us and the movie theater people, whoever the hell they are. And that deal is understood by every single person in this room. The deal is you're ripping us off. Okay? We get it. We're fine with it. A lot of overpriced, oversized crap we shouldn't be eating to begin with. Fine. It's all fine. In exchange for that, when I'm done with something, I open my hand. Let it roll down 8 rows. I'm sticking my arm down into that dark, scary hole. See if I can pry out 3 goobers that have been soda welded there since the Shawshank Redemption.
You know, I 100% relate to what he said, and it's all completely justifiable. And like $20, large popcorn seems fair. It is also what I'm paying for to leave it sitting there on the seat, but I can't bring myself to do it. I can't do it, especially when I see the person that's going to have to pick up after me there. Then I'm just gathering stuff, but you know what I do? I'm always covered in popcorn. Like
you are.
There's There's always more of it on me than is left in the actual carton, and I'm not going to take every individual piece of popcorn, and I'm not going to try and figure out a way to dispose of that cleanly. I just brush it all off and it goes straight onto the floor. And I've seen the look from the attendant and gone, really? Like, but you just know the whole floor is being vacuumed and it's just a thing. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But I think Seinfeld has a point. Oh my gosh. Holy freaking, speaking of Seinfeld and all things Seinfeld related. October 1st, what happens, Funkhauser?
You tell them.
Curb Your Enthusiasm comes back to HBO after 7 years of not doing shows. It's coming
I totally
back.
thought you were going to talk about the other Seinfeld before Jerry before Seinfeld.
Oh my gosh! I'm so excited for that too. Yeah. No, the Seinfeld stand-up special, which is. So it looks like it's. I've watched the trailer probably 50 times now. He goes to the original comedy club where he got his start, and he talks about starting out in comedy, and it's sort of like. I don't know. It doesn't necessarily look as though it's straight up comedy, but, it's Jerry Seinfeld. He can't not be funny, so he's going to tell the story of his life and his origin. I can wait. And as if that weren't enough, as if that already didn't feel like a combination of Christmas, Easter, and my birthday. We get Larry David back, too. Larry David is going to be, there's a new series of Curb Your Enthusiasm. I'm so unbelievably excited for that. Larry David was on Kimmel the other night listing some of his best and worst qualities. Check it out.
Do you think that is your best quality in general?
I think my best quality is that I'm a great person to break up with. Fantastic. Yeah. So fantastic. There's no histrionics. There's no scene, everybody's afraid to say it, but eventually they go, Larry, I'm so sorry. I don't think we should see each other anymore. Huh? Really? Okay. That's good.
I guess that's
very good.
That's your best quality.
That's great. And I'll tell you another great quality.
What is it?
I'm a terrific mourner.
Oh, really?
Great mourner, yes.
Somebody passes away.
Yes, I'm a very approachable mourner, okay? So sorry about your loss. Yeah, go have some deli. Go eat, yeah, I'm good, go eat.
What is your worst quality while we're on this particular subject?
Not good in hospitals.
Oh, really? Good mourner.
Yes, bad visitor, bad hospital visitor.
Oh,
visitor.
Why?
Because I can't hide the pity, you know. They see through the pity. If they didn't know they were dying before I got there, they know once they look at my face.
Freaking genius. Unbelievable, unmitigated, perfect genius, and I can't wait. I don't have HBO, but I will be paying for it starting October 1st. Can't wait. And while I'm at it, I guess I'll watch that show with the girl and the dragons and the throne.
Yeah, that'll take you a while, though.
Well, like all those shows, I don't like to watch. Like, haven't seen an episode of Walking Dead. I don't want to start getting into Walking Dead until it's over, until it's done. I hear it jump the shark. I know Walking Dead fans are like, that show needs to go away now. Like, they've run out of ideas. Like, is that true? Do you watch the show?
I don't watch
anything
it.
About it? I heard a couple people say that it wasn't a thing, and it's tough because I want to watch the whole series eventually one day, but people saying it gets lousy in whatever the hell season they're in doesn't make me want to invest the time getting into it. Like, I keep going back and forth on Sons of Anarchy. Like, I tried to watch The Sopranos. I know that's not a very timely thing to say, but I tried to binge The Sopranos. I'd never seen all of them. I'd seen a couple here and there, and I was just like, this was before binging really existed. On-demand binging really existed. I was like, I'll just watch all The Sopranos at some later date. And I got I think 3 or 4 seasons in it. I think he's taking his daughter off to college, and that was where I was like, okay, not interested. I wish I was watching something else the whole time. And now I'm side-eyeing Sons of Anarchy, wondering if I should, or if it's going to be another giant heap of disappointment in the second to last season, as all these things seem to be.
Leave the stimulation to the professionals.
Everyone is so smart.
KPRC, more stimulating talk radio.
There's something happening here, and you should know what it is.
The Dumbing Up of America. Now, more AD on the radio.
Hey, Funkhauser.
Yeah.
Are you happy? Are you happy?
Am I?
Yeah. Specifically, are you happy in the state of California? You lived there your entire life. Do you feel like...
Oh, I lived in Nevada and Oregon for a while, but I mean,
that's true, yeah. Mostly
of the time,
you've been in California. Yeah, okay. So, only because the happiest and least happy states in America have been identified.
Oh, okay.
So
is California one of them?
Is California contributing to or detracting from your level of happiness? What about the state where you're listening to this? What about people in Texas and Florida and all those other places we're on, like California as well? This is Texas, Florida, and California. We cover like the extremities of the state, of the states. Like we're East Coast, West Coast, and Third Coast is where we are on. But is your home state contributing to or detracting from your level of happiness? We'll discuss later on in the show as we roll through what remains of the news. What else is going on, Funkhauser?
Oh, Montel Williams says President Trump repealed DACA to preserve white supremacy. Montel Williams.
I don't think that's... Well, look, Montel Williams is not necessarily someone I would seek political commentary from. But, you know... I really like Montel Williams for a number of different reasons. A lot of people were like, oh, that crazy Montel Williams is at it again. Like, I really like what he did with the Montel Williams Foundation. Multiple sclerosis, which he's dealt with for much of his adult life, is no fun. And he's made incredible strides. He has done incredible things to help people with that. And then you throw in the part where he's a veteran, that in and of themselves... And I don't know much about the guy. I know a lot of people give him a hard time in this day and age. But, hey, you're a veteran and you've helped untold numbers of people with multiple sclerosis, you get a pass in my book. And that's what he does. He's a pundit. He's a commentator. He's somebody who, like the Ann Coulters of this world, his speaking prices go up when he says something inflammatory, and he all of a sudden has a larger audience because he said something inflammatory. Montel Williams says President Trump repealed DACA to preserve white supremacy. I don't know if that's true. I think President Trump repealed DACA for a number of different reasons, but I don't think it hurt that a bunch of his white supremacist followers and voters were all for it. And that's the thing with Donald Trump. It's the thing that Michael Che said on Weekend Update, where he's like, Donald Trump's not a racist. He's friends with Omarosa and Don King. I'm a black man, and I wouldn't be friends with those people. This is Michael Che, not me. Obviously, me being Whitey McWhite, the whitest man to ever white a white. But I don't think Donald Trump is... Like, people that, like me, spend a good portion of their lives in New York City, where Donald Trump was an absolutely ubiquitous presence, never really caught a whiff of racism around Donald Trump. And he was just always there. He was always making some sort of headline, some sort of scene. Like, if he'd been racist, we would have had evidence of that. And I don't think, like I said, and Michael Che said, Donald Trump's actually a racist. But I think he's got big fans in the racist community, and he doesn't want to... The last thing Donald Trump ever wants to do is lose a fan or a supporter. People that are willing to crawl for him, people that are willing to worship him, people that are willing to say he's the greatest thing since very, very white sliced bread. He's not a man with the principles necessary to alienate those folks. And so if he's got a fan, he will do everything he can to keep him. So I don't think Donald Trump repealed DACA to preserve white supremacy. It had the added benefit of making his white supremacist followers happy campers. And that, operating from a place where you completely lack principle, that, to me, is almost worse than being a racist. All right, what else, Funkhauser?
Pirates of the Caribbean 6 is in the works.
No, Los Angeles wildfires. Where's your just... You need it. 6?
6.
Really? 6? Have you watched any of them? Have you watched all of them? I heard they were running out of ideas after the third one. Is that...
I don't know. Is Johnny Depp in it? I think that's all that matters to people.
Well, there you go. I think that people want to see Johnny Depp as Captain Jack Sparrow. They do not want to see him as pretty much anything else in this day and age. So until he gets bored of doing that, I think we're going to have a never-ending influx of Pirates of the Caribbean movies. What else?
There's a petition to replace a Minneapolis statue of Christopher Columbus with Prince.
Okay, but then what do we do with the remaining 5.5 feet? Prince was not tall. Go on. More news, Funkhauser.
Well, Bernie Sanders had a birthday recently. He turned 76.
He spent the day redistributing slices of his birthday cake.
President Trump I am happy to announce that I've got another birthday in the box, and I will share it with the American people, provided that you vote for this act, the Healthcare for Everyone Act.
Talk about everybody getting an equal amount of cake.
Everyone gets the same amount of cake, for no matter who you are. I'm losing it now. Yeah. It only works for about 12 seconds, and then...
I wonder if Bernie Trump's birthday cake... Bernie Trump. I wonder if Bernie Sanders' birthday cake comes without corner pieces, because those are clearly the best, and it would be absolutely unfair to get a middle. Well, like, if I got the middle and Funkhauser got the corner piece with, like, frosting on all sides, I'd be like, what the hell, man? What the hell? Not
Everyone
cool.
gets a corner cake. While I'm having a birthday. President Trump is talking with Senate Democrats about getting rid of the debt ceiling.
Yeah, this is one of those things where I think that and Republicans are hopping mad about it. Me, being someone that doesn't pledge allegiance to either political party and believes in the individual and the individual bill or the individual thing that you're voting on, as opposed to going, I'm going to vote straight ticket blur for the rest of my life because that's what my dad did and that's what his dad before that did. I don't believe in that. That's not a thing. So I am in favor of any time any politician or any voter is willing to put aside partisan politics for the sake of doing what they feel is right. So I'm in favor of just anything where you reach across the aisle. But President Trump is talking with Senate Democrats about getting rid of the debt ceiling. Now, the act of actually getting rid of the debt ceiling, that's a whole other shebang. But I like the cooperation. I do. Besides, the right is basically in a constant state of civil war. It's just this unbelievable state of flux, unbelievable state of infighting, and there's the Never Trump Republicans, and it's just like, yeah, they control everything, and they can't freaking agree on one thing. They own the Republicans own government in this country right now, and they can't get themselves together to do anything with that immeasurable amount of power that they've got at the moment. Like, this is the chance. Like, if you really are a Republican that believes that the tenets of republicanism as they stand in 2017, because being a Republican is very different in 2017 from how it was in 2010 to how it was in the 1800s and 1950s, all the above. It's a constantly changing thing. But if you honestly believe that your Republican conservative principles have a chance to make this country better for the people in it, you got all the power in the world. You control everything. And you can't get it together to get anything done. It's the most shameful waste of the work that it took to get there that I've ever seen in my life. Absolutely disgraceful how they're just too busy tripping over their own junks to actually accomplish anything in this country. And I deeply resent that, because there's so much that could be happening right now if people could just get on the same freaking page. Anyways, any other news?
You dropped this soapbox right here.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
We got like 3 minutes here.
Oh, well, we should probably talk about the places that make you happy. Let's talk about the happiest states in America. Mm-hmm. Yes. So, Funkhauser, you live in California. Do you feel like you're living in California contributes to or detracts from your level of happiness?
Can I say, I'd like to say both, but I know that's the wrong answer.
It's not, look, there's good and bad to every situation. California, beautiful weather, high taxes. I
think the majority would say that it makes them happier.
California?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's see if you're right. New study looks at things like average income, mental health stats, crime, how long commutes are, and how much free time people have. And it ranked all 50 states according to how easy it is to be happy if you live there. Yeah, you're taking all that stuff in. Yeah. That's where California really suffers. The commuting is legendarily awful. But, you got to remember, Funkhauser, this is California, not your show business bubble of the greater Los Angeles area.
Oh, right, okay.
Where would you say the least happy places are?
Where it snows and you can't go outside ever.
All right, so the least happy states are West Virginia, Oklahoma, Louisiana. I don't know. I've spent time in Louisiana. They're a jolly people. people. Well, they are. Yeah. I wonder. They're jolly people, but most, and I'm not. This is in no way, shape, or form a blanket statement about people from Louisiana, but my friends from Louisiana, probably heavily, and they all live in Houston as well. There's Louisiana folks that moved out of Louisiana, and they seem happy, but they're also, well, like I said, binge drinkers who left the state. So really, my market research means nothing when it comes to the people of Louisiana. Then there's Alabama, Arkansas, Mississippi, Kentucky, Missouri, Tennessee, and Alaska. These are the least happy states in our nation.
Those were all like in a group. Much of the ones you mentioned are in the South.
Yeah, they're not. They're not incredibly disparate when it comes to the amount of distance between them. People in Colorado get the most sleep. Unsurprising there. Vermont is the safest state. That's Bernie's stomping grounds, right?
Everyone has cake in Vermont.
North Dakota has the highest income growth and the lowest long-term unemployment rate. Like if you want a job, North Dakota has you covered. And not only that, but it's going to be a job with prospects as well. The happiest states are in reverse order, so we get to the happiest one first. Utah and Hawaii were close to the top. Hawaii has the lowest rate of depression. People in Utah work the fewest hours and have the lowest divorce rate. People in Utah also, I mean, you know, if one marriage doesn't work out, you might have the other 5 to bolster that particular figure. So I don't know. Anyways, the happiest states are New Hampshire, Wisconsin, Iowa, South Dakota. These are all cold and inhospitable places during the winter months, by the way. Nebraska, Hawaii, that blows the cold and inhospitable thing. Utah, California. California came in at number 4, so people generally tend to be happy in California, Funkhauser. And the happiest state in the entirety of the country, Minnesota. It's true. And I've spent time in Minnesota, and the one thing I've noticed is that, well, there's this time about 7 months out of the year where Mother Nature actively tries to take your life in Minnesota. And, you know, people look out for each other. In the snow, they're going slow and watching out for each other on the road. And they check on their neighbors, their elderly neighbors during the winter because, you know, they might be dead. So that helps. I think the general sense of community and pulling together and doing for each other contribute to that Minnesotan happiness. Don't you know?